live radio, local podcasts, the Frederick Podcast Network at listenfrederick.com.
Hello? Yeah, this is Mark. I'm not feeling real good today, and probably not tomorrow either. So I'm going to be out. You know what that means. It's that time of the year where NCAA hoops rules the day. One of my favorite things to do. We will get into the haves, the have-nots, heading into the big dance. Cinderella always makes an appearance. And who will be the number one seed that lasts the duration, along with the number one seed that gets it handed to them early? Hey, crack open a cold one, grab your favorite snack, and let's get this thing rolling!
National Streaming Sports is brought to you in part by BetUs.com, designed for true fans. NFL odds, Week 1 and futures. College football odds, including Heisman Trophy favorites and playoff odds. NBA odds of division winners and playoffs. Major League Baseball playoff and World Series odds. The National Hockey League Conference playoffs and Stanley Cup odds. And boxing wagers. Betting opportunities include versus the spreads and outright winners. Also, during the game. Use our link on our website, NESSP.info, the Bet Us Opportunities webpage, for a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Must be 21 years old, and remember, bet responsibly.
You're going to call anyone that loves you. You're going to ask them if you can use their card to buy concert tickets because your card's maxed out. Okay. If they say yes, you get the tickets.
I can't call my parents because they already think I make bad financial decisions. Well, so I think I'll call one of my friends.
Okay.
I'm a little nervous. I feel tingling.
What's your nut answer?
Giovanna?
Yes.
I was on SeatGeek earlier and I saw 2 tickets for Olivia Rodrigo at a really, really, really good price. So
Oh my god.
I maxed my credit card out by accident last week. Do you think I could use yours to buy the tickets?
Oh my god, yes.
Did I what?
Yeah, you got the tickets. You got the tickets.
I just want tickets. We're going to go to the concert together. Giovanna, I'll call you later. Love you. Thanks for picking up. Oh my god. I'm going to see Olivia Rodrigo.
Yes, thank you, SeatGeek.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world, it's time to experience the O's on the Original Sports Podcast.
Chops in the corner for 3! Big Chops. He's going to hit it for 3. You see that, Chops? I gave you a for 3, baby. For 3.
That's what I do too. And people say, Chops, can you shoot? I'd be like, yes. They'd be like, well, where are you good from? Oh, I got to be in the gym. If I can see the hoop, I'm knocking it down. I just got to be in the gym.
That's why I wore this hat tonight for you, Chops. The GOAT.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let me put my glasses on. Let me put my glasses on so I can see what I'm seeing.
Hey, Sheen, let me ask you a question. Do you have that windmill dunk down to a T? Was you doing windmill dunks? What was your thing on the court?
My thing on the court is defense and rebounding. I know my strengths and I play to them. That's what I do. I'm not a guy. I might shoot a 3 here and there, but I ain't gonna be shooting like Chops. You know, I'm the dirty guy.
All right.
I got 5 fouls. I'm gonna use all 6.
Oh shit! They give them 6 now, don't they? Don't they get 6?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got 6 fouls. I'm gonna use all 7.
Hell yeah!
You know what? Honestly, fellas, I'm not gonna say much tonight because I give y'all the actual factuals and I drop knowledge when we're doing football. If I dominate and drop mad knowledge in hoops, then it won't even be fair to you cats. So I'm going to drop my nuggets and like E.F. Hutton, listen when I speak, and then go from there.
All right, E.F. Hutton. All right. Hey, when we get into this though, like I want to ask you this question: who is your favorite all-time NCAA player? First, I need to know that.
That's easy for me.
Who was it?
Allen Iverson, Georgetown.
AI.
Big East. Ray Allen. He played against those guys. Ray Allen. Yeah.
Ralph Sampson from University of Virginia. I remember as a kid trying to get home to see when Ralph Sampson was playing. I loved Ralph Sampson. Loved it.
Yeah.
Because you said NCAA. You didn't say he went to the pro. NCAA,
Yeah.
Ralph Sampson. Ralph Sampson.
Ralph was number one overall pick.
Yeah.
He was
Did you
number
love
one
him
overall
because
pick.
did you love him because you thought he was dominant, or like because you just was amazed with how tall he was?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. I did think he was dominant, and now he was not part of my favorite team. Because I had a favorite team in the March Madness too. Without question. Hold on. Honestly, though, it's close between Phi Slamma Jamma or
Georgetown.
It's a Phi Slamma Jamma.
The running Rebs when they lost. When they lost. And it wasn't even the Fab Five. It was the running Rebs with Ackles, your Jimmy, dog. Yeah, Larry John, it was
LJ, LA.
Running Rebs and Tarkini biting the towel on the sideline.
Hey,
that was my squad.
Remember Fruit Pie? He kind of marketed for LA because he'd have that long red hanky hanging out.
Yeah.
He wanted his game to be like Larry Anderson. That's what Fruit Pie marketed himself as. Yeah. Damn. The good old days. Fruit Pie was this dude that we grew up with.
Cousin of mine, passed away early.
He was like 19. But he led the WPIAL in scoring his junior and senior year.
Wow.
But his grades were not real good. So he ended up going
he used to use it. I remember him using a drill bit and making the eyes and his shoelaces wider. He used to put literally up to 12 different color laces in his shoes. He had all kind of color laces in the shoes. My older cousin, man.
I always looked up for Fruit Pie.
He was one of my first cousins because we ended up having family that moved to Maryland, and he was one of the first ones that went and got the family into Maryland. Yeah, man.
Yeah, the worst part of it was Fruit Pie died in a car accident. He was driving down the road, and a guy in a dump truck or some shit ran him right over.
Yeah.
Ran him right over.
Yeah.
Man, terrible.
Was Fruit Pie a shooter or a slasher? What was he?
Everything, man. He could do it all.
Honestly, man, he could do it. Seriously, he could do it all. Yeah,
what was Fruit Pie's real name?
Randy Smith. Randy Smith.
I'm gonna look him up. Okay.
Smith.
Randy Smith. Look him up. There's a good word out there on Randy Smith. Hey, I didn't tell you my favorite though. I like the UCLA Bruins that had. Who's the dude that left there and went and played in the pros football? Tight end, Tony Gonzalez.
I thought he went to USC.
No, UCLA, right? Am I wrong?
Cal. Was Tony?
Cal.
No, that was Gates.
No, Gonzalez went to Cal.
To Cal?
Okay.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's that Cal team. They were really good.
Yeah.
I like that Cal team.
Who else
I thought so.
Was Antonio Gates Kent State? Antonio Gates played tight. Yeah, Kent. Okay. Kent.
I just liked obscure teams when I watch NCAA. I just like obscure teams. I like seeing what other teams have. I look at the talent level of some of those teams out there, and I can't figure out how they beat. I'll look at somebody play, like those playing games tonight.
Right.
Is that tonight? Yeah, it's tonight.
Those
playing games, like some of those dudes can ball out. Why are they playing at Arkansas State A&M?
Well, because again, let's not forget, and there might be different reasons. Remember your boy McNair. He ended up, I know it was football, but he ended up staying local because of his mother and his family. So maybe that's part of it, whatever have you. But also in the same token, Mark, the great thing about March Madness is it's one and done. A win you go on, a loss you go home. And some of these cats, you know what I'm saying? And to me, yes, you can have upsets in baseball, but a baseball series, you got 7 games, whatever have you. You can have an upset in football, but it's somewhere along the game. Football is physical, so it's harder. But with hoops, if you're not hitting that night, you're just not hitting. If the rim isn't kind, the rim isn't kind. And that's why I love March Madness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it's not kind, it's not kind.
No, I'm down with all that. You're right on point. And I love college so much more than I like the pro game.
Oh yeah, without question.
The pro game brings anything to the table. At least for me, it doesn't.
Without question. I love that. I love college.
But I will throw you a nugget. The last time I was at a pro game, MJ was playing for the Wizards.
Oh wow.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's a minute ago. That's when I first moved down here. And this Friday night, we're taking Vincent to see. He kept asking me, Dad, let's go to an NBA game. I want to go to an NBA game. So we're going to see the Wizards play Orlando. And I think it's post game. They have Shaq doing. He's mixing it up. Ricky.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Shaq's,
listen,
he seems to be a good dude.
yeah, I mean, I hear if you pay a little extra, they'll put you in the game down there for the Wizards.
They might. They might.
You ain't
Hey,
never
Chop,
lied.
if we get Chops in the gym, he'll be shooting the lights out.
You're never sizzling that net. Sizzling.
Oh,
Sizzling.
shoot. Hey, did you hang out the courts a lot, Chops? I don't remember.
Yes, yeah. But I didn't play as much then until because that was don't forget how big the crossing tournaments were in our town, whatever. So we had some real local legends back then. Hank Commodore, yeah, man. Those cats.
Hank Commodore, there's an old.
Yeah, I used
that's
to love
old
Hank
school
Commodore.
right there.
Yes,
Hank the Frank.
I used to love hanging out at the
Was he dunking on people?
Hank was older. And
Hank Commodore used to do it all, man. He used to hit a 30-footer with like it wasn't shit. I remember Hank Commodore, even at the carnival, getting banned from playing carnival games. There was nothing athletic he couldn't do.
Oh, was he old?
He was older.
Older than us, but at the time, older than us at the time. But like when we're in our teens, what was he in his mid-20s? Whatever have you. Yeah.
Old men
and then we had this dude, Michael Hudzik.
Yeah.
He was the athlete of all athletes growing up. I mean, whatever sport he touched, he was gold in it. He walked on at IUP and was playing.
Yeah.
Was he the best athlete? Who was your best athlete?
Probably Hutta.
Wow.
Probably,
okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't you think?
Oh,
Chops?
man, that's man. There's so many. I'd like to. Those were some battles back then at the field because you're playing. The way it was set up, seriously, the way it was set up, there was the baseball fields, the basketball field, an open field to play football. Everything was right there. And all the cats were playing, and they're older than me. So I used to love to go watch those games. The hoop games, then when the lights come on, I remember Mark, y'all cats older than me, they'd break the police or whoever, tried to lock the board so they couldn't turn the lights on. Of course, these cats opened the box, broke the chain. So the lights are supposed to go off at 10 o'clock. You go by and it's midnight. And there's 20, 30 guys there waiting. We got next, to run games. There was no trouble, no art. I mean, it was good competition, big dog. I used to love going there.
Now, don't get me wrong. They have 40s. You could get an OE, whatever you wanted was in somebody's trunk.
Yeah.
They didn't cause no trouble. It was all the people. Listen, it was all the people who lived around there that were like, "Nah, you can't do that. It's too late. I gotta get up, and go to work."
Yeah. But the crossing tournaments, man, it was big stuff. It was. They used to paint the courts, the true blacktop. Paint
I
the
volunteered
courts.
for that shit with Dawn and Tracer.
Yeah, man, it was good.
Yeah, man, go. Hey,
go. Yeah.
Check it out. Sam Clancy was always a big name up there.
Yep. Sam Clancy
Flannery.
Oh, BB?
Yeah, BB. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
man. Who's
that other boy that he played with down at Valley? Went to Notre Dame and played. I'm drawing a blank on his name.
I know. Man.
Billy Barner. Billy B.
Yeah. Shane, you have some older siblings. If you ask them, they probably remember some of those cats. Clancy coming up to Vandergrift, the hoop. Yeah, man. That was our version of the Rucker back in the day, dog. Everybody's coming, like you said, Clancy, cats coming from Pittsburgh, played the crossing tournaments.
Vandergrift had a legit 4th of July celebration.
Yeah, was.
They have a big softball tournament. There are teams from all over the country. The basketball tournament, there are people who came in from all over the place. Yeah.
Good time. It was.
Huge. It was legit.
Yeah.
Now you got to try and not get shot when you go to Vandergrift. You know what I'm saying? All right.
Now,
fellas, we could go on with this conversation forever. Me and Chops at least could. But
yeah.
Hey, Shane, who's peaking? Who's peaking right now when this thing tips off?
As much as I hate to say it, it's Duke, followed by Houston, and I would say any of the top 4 SEC teams. Man, that tournament was great this past weekend. Man, that was a great tournament. Auburn, Tennessee, Florida. Yeah, that was a great tournament, man. But I'm gonna go Duke, man. I think Duke is peaking. I didn't even know Duke was number 1. I just realized that when I looked at it today.
Yep.
I didn't know they were number 1 in the country. Wow.
Yeah, they're really good. Really good.
Yeah.
Chops, who you got peaking right now?
Okay. Duke, to me, can't be peaking because they were high up regardless, and they were number 1 seed in the ACC tourney. And they now he'll be. I don't think he should play Friday, but oh boy, Cooper, he'll be back. But fellas, real quick, and also why it's hard for me to say Duke. Your boy Malik Brown, he dislocated his shoulder. I need to see if he comes back and how well he end up playing a little bit more, but I need to see how well he does. Houston, big dog, don't forget, Houston only lost 1 game all year, so they've been tough. When I'm talking about peaking, I had thought about Florida because they're rolling. They're the most complete team.
Yeah.
Fellas, BYU has won 8 or 9 of their last 10, and they only lost to Houston. You know what I'm saying? Now, again, they're not playing in the SEC. You know what I'm saying? But for who they're playing, BYU's hot. They're hot as a pistol right now. So that's who I'm going with as in peaking, only because on any given day, like Florida's, the Dukes, they're going to be tough regardless. You know what I'm saying? But the way they're playing right now and how we talked about it. Yeah. What's that?
I'm going to throw out a surprise one. Louisville.
Oh.
Louisville.
Yeah.
Yeah. Louisville. Yeah.
That coach is doing something special there. And I'll tell you what, when you look at where those teams, where they fell in the brackets, Louisville, who's playing lights out basketball, came in as an 8 seed, and they are pissed. They are mad. Their coach is going to use that to his advantage. Watch out. I'm telling you.
Okay.
They played well all year. Hey, potential first round matchup that could lead to an upset. Who you thinking?
I got Drake over Mizzou. Drake, their coach came from a Division II program that had 2 national championships, I think, in a row, if I'm not mistaken. He left, and then he brought all those guys with him, and then they ran through the conference up there. Somehow they ran through the Division I conference. I got Drake, and I also got Yale and Texas A&M.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, now Yale and Texas A&M I can get with. What is Yale? A 12 or a 13-4? Is that a 13-4 Drake? I think Yale. Yeah. What is Drake in Mizzou? What are those?
Drake's got to be 16, right? Is Drake a 16?
No, I don't think, because Mizzou's not a number 1. So, but here's the thing.
It's probably like a 14-3.
6-11. 6-11.
Okay. And then technically if Drake wins, it would be an upset. Here's what I got. Now, I do believe, believe in it. And I know there's only 4 brackets, and I'm picking and I'm going out on a limb. But here's the thing. Michigan, I believe, is going to beat UC San Diego. I do believe that. However, because their length and their size, and I get that. But that's a 5-12. Yeah. We know there's always a 5-12 upset. However, I got 2 of my 5 and 12. UC San Diego, they're small in their front line. I think 2 cats are 6'6", another guy 6'8". So they're going to be hurting in height against Michigan. But UC San Diego is efficient. They get after it. I do think that what's going to end up winning it for Michigan is their height. But that's somebody who's on upset alert for me. Also, styles make fights. So just keep your eye open on McNeese and Clemson. I understand Clemson should roll through them, but McNeese, the type of ball they play, and that's why I have the 5 and 12s. But one that's really got me what could happen, number 3, Iowa against Liscum, 14.
Okay.
Liscum shoots lights out. Literally, I'm not lying to you. Literally, I think it's almost 50% of their shots per game are threes, averaging 50% of their 50% of their. So if they hypothetically get hot, that's why the way Liscum plays, their energy, and I know everything's hypothetical. What if, if this were fifth, we'd all be drunk and we'd all have a Merry Christmas. But I do believe, man, that could be a good one. I like that one. I like that one a lot. Liscum and Iowa State. But my first one that I originally went with was Michigan versus UNC San Diego. That is going to be a good one that is going to come down to the last 3 minutes.
I'm not impressed with
Chops. Okay.
I wasn't impressed with Michigan. I've seen them play this past weekend.
I tell you who's better in Michigan is Michigan
I know,
State.
I know. And we'll talk about that later, between them and some other schools on Talk About Play.
Hey, you know what I like? I like New Mexico over Marquette. I'm not a big fan of Marquette. I know they're always in the running. I get that piece of it, but I really like New Mexico over them. New Mexico played good ball all year, and they came in as a 10th seed. Now, I get their division, their conference, whatever, is not that great, but it's not as glaring in college basketball as it is in college football when you play like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you only play 5 dudes at a time on the floor. So I like New Mexico knocking off Marquette. I like a 10-2 matchup there with New Mexico and Michigan State in the next round. And then the second one I like a lot. Well, I shouldn't say the second one, but I like Liberty with the upset over Oregon. Yeah, I just think that's one of those teams that is going to shake the ground a little bit. That's all I think.
And fellas, here's the thing. It's a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, you can never look at any upset as crazy, because we've seen, not often, but we've seen 16s upset ones, 2-15, 3, we've seen all that. Look at my man Fairman. So we've seen all those. So I will admit, I will be surprised if Liberty gets the win over Oregon. Here he goes. And Kevin has loved the Jets and talked about the Jets since we've been in second grade, Mrs. Ackerman's class.
Hey, listen, one of these days he's going to get it right.
Yeah.
One of these days. That's all I know.
Yeah. So that'll be a good one. But fellas, but here's the thing also, when Mark, you hit on it, it's not as glaring when you talk about rankings, whatever have you. This year, I don't have a problem with the 4 number ones. I really don't. But the fact that UNC got in, it makes me question a lot of these other standings, and not who got in, but where the placements are. Because like you said, even Louisville in 8, Louisville's been balling, and they're not a gimme to get past Oklahoma. That's going to be a good one. That's going to be a good one. That really will be. So.
Yeah, I didn't like seeing UNC. I looked at that when I saw the play-ins for tonight. I was like, what? Wait, what? Why?
And here's the crazy part. They had one quad 1 win. One, right? One quad. Okay, one, right?
West Virginia.
West Virginia had 6. West Virginia had 6 and didn't get in. Indiana had more than didn't get in. So you can't tell me that UNC's athletic director, it's also chairman of the board, didn't have something. They'll say, well, he had to leave the room when they talked about it. Yeah, but he spent the entire rest of the time with them, so it doesn't much matter. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, so having said that, so that ticked me off a little bit, but I'm still going to enjoy the tourney. But because of that, it makes me question. When I say question, because hoops is like that. You don't know. Because BYU is what? BYU is BYU a 6th and BCU is 11th? Okay. BYU, like I said, you could take into consideration who they played, who they didn't play. But again, 8 out of 9 or 9 out of their last 10. Could they have been higher than a 6 seed? Or so a lot of these teams like the SEC, they're not blue bloods, but they're high-ranked schools, just like USC and UNC's in. Did that help some of these higher schools get a higher ranking? You know what I mean? So we'll see how that goes. But I'm interested. To be honest with you, big dog, and I know we'll get into it, the only region I'm really not looking too tough at, just being honest with you, is the East region, where Duke is.
Well, that comes to the next question. Who has a favorable path to the Final Four?
I was going to say Duke.
And I was going to say, I got Duke also. It's not strong over
there. And they don't need that. They don't need that. Duke does not need that easy region.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing to me. It depends how healthy Brown are and Cooper. But when you went team for team, because fellas, hold on. When we talked about Duke's run, in their second matchup, they could be looking at Mississippi State. Mississippi State is not an easy run. They're not an
They're
easy
what, an
walk.
8 or 9 seed?
Eight or nine. So
Yeah.
they're not easy. And they play great defense. Then if they get past them, Duke at some point would have the rematch and run it back with Arizona. That is going to be a good game if it can get to that. Those two teams match up. To me, so you guys had Duke, both you guys had Duke with the easiest path.
Yeah.
I had Houston. And why I had Houston, they start out with Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville. Then the second round, they'd play Gonzaga, who Gonzaga's tough, but they're not Mark Few's teams of years past.
Right.
Then they could get Purdue in the Sweet 16, which the Purdue had the Big Ten Player of the Year. So that could be some, but I still think they should get up with that. Now, Tennessee in Houston that'll be a good one. But that's really to me, that's really the only game they're going to be tested. So that's why I said Houston had the easiest run to the final.
I'll tell you what, that first game that they play to, that's the kind of school that knocks them out. They have nothing to lose. Yeah, they have nothing to lose. I know it sounds crazy, but think, how often does that happen? That somebody sticks 5 athletic as hell guys out on the floor, 2 athletic as hell guys coming off the bench, and they end up knocking off a team like Houston. That happens quite a bit, fellas.
If it wasn't your boy Sampson, Kelvin Sampson's team, I could buy into that a little more. Now watch it happen this year. Kelvin Sampson is always tough. He always crosses his T's, dots his I's. To me, he could have been right there with the John Thompsons, the Rolly Massiminos, the way he gets in there and coaches, and he's about the fundamentals. And his teams, for the most part, don't really. I think this for Kelvin Sampson and his teams to win 30. I think they've done this numerous times.
Yeah,
I think his team. So, and you're right, Mark. Normally, I would, but I think, as we'll talk about later, coaches play a big part in this, and I just don't see his team going out and laying a duck. It's possible. It's because tight rims, you never know. But
what the hell does SIUE stand for anyway?
Southern Illinois University of Edwardsville.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They'll have some good recruiting classes if they can knock off.
Woo! Without question. And the crazy part is, even if they can be competitive and look good, they'll get a lot of those players. You want
them to look good, or you want them to look good?
Man, brother, I think they could be the University of Troy in football, because Troy gets a lot of those players that Bama or Auburn doesn't get.
Yeah. Yep. Fellas, what player, or even players, you think can or just they might lead that team to a deep run?
Chops, you want to go? Because I mean, if Flag is healthy, it's Flag. Player of the year.
Okay. And you're right.
I think if he's healthy, but also, even if he is healthy, it still might hamper him. But
he's my favorite player in college basketball right now. Not because he's a white boy, but because he's exciting. He plays with emotion. And I feel like that's what the NBA misses. The NBA misses emotion now. Where Jordan used to play with emotion, he'd turn his head and talk shit to somebody and all that kind of stuff. You never, ever see that anymore. And Flag does that. He plays with that emotion. He's passionate about the game. And that's something I really hope that the Wizards lose out and get him. That would be great for basketball in D.C.
Man, you think? I mean, because look, we don't want to get into pros, but look at they got your boy Wemby in San Antonio, and they're still gutter. But you did say basketball in DC. So he probably brings some people in. All right. And fellas, I know everybody's saying Flag and his health is a major part. It's a huge, huge thing. But I got 2 players, and they're both on Auburn. One is of course him. I think he was their player of the year. Wasn't he player in the SEC or something this year? But Braum is great. But your boy, Chad Baker Mazar, that cat has to keep his head on his shoulders. He's been ejected from a couple games, and you see the team go down, which you would think that the the player of the year he being a player of the year as in Braum would still be able to carry the team. But there's been a couple games he got a double tech. Your boy Mazar, he got ejected for that. He got ejected for losing his composure. So to me, for Auburn and fellas, Auburn has lost 3 of their last 4. So that's a team that's on the, as we said, BYU, you guys said Florida or Duke, who's ever going up. They're the complete antithesis of that. Yeah. So for me, as Auburn is sizzling and going down, Braum and Baker Mazar have to be on their game, and they've got to play the game from the neck up. And that's a quote from our boy that you introduced me to, Claudio Rosano. He wrote a book from the games played from the neck up. Baker Mazar has to keep his wits about him. He has to. Those are the ones who, for me, are leading them.
Hey, when did everybody start having 3 names?
I don't know. And
that's just crazy to be. All of a sudden, everybody got 3 names.
Normally, when you hear somebody with 3 names, that's a school shooter. That's somebody who's been seriously.
Usually, I think it's usually because your parents are separated and you want to honor both.
Okay.
I don't know, man, but before it always used to be if you heard a 3 name, that was somebody who committed a mass or something. I don't know why they did it.
At Kentucky, Willie Cauley-Stein. I knew his dad, Willie Cauley, played at Pitt.
Pitt, yeah.
Mom was Stan, so I think he just wanted to honor both parents.
That's
they
legit.
Together.
That's
legit.
They
work together, so I think he just
I'll take that. That was just an off the cuff question, by the way. That just was running through my brain. I mean, all my Hispanic kids, they all got 3 names, and it's because that's the culture. That's what they.
Oh, that's the culture for them. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's see.
Who's your players, Mark? Because hold on, he said Cooper. I said mine. Who's your player?
Mine was Cooper too.
Okay.
Mine was Cooper too. I explained to you why I like the kid.
Yeah.
He just it's that passion. He brought that passion back to the game. At least for Duke, he brought it back to the game in the ACC.
I hate Duke, by the way, but yeah.
I'm not a Duke fan at all.
Yeah.
I'm not a Duke fan at all. Not at all. I don't like UNC. Not at all. Herbert Davis needs fired yesterday. But at the end of the day, I mean, the flag kid he's a one and done. And he's going to be good in the pros. He's going to be legit in the pros because he even has a big body already. Imagine that kid's 19 years old. Can you believe that shit?
Used to say they'll put size on him, but they don't even play big men in a big man position anymore with the NBA.
No.
They won't put size on him.
How much? Okay, so Shane asked this question, or actually he referred to this question. How much is coaching going to be a part of this?
I think it's huge. It's huge.
I do too. I mean, it's like chess. You got to know who to move in, who to move out.
Yeah. And you figure, okay, I like St. John's. And I like Pitino. I'm a Rick Pitino fan, right?
I do.
Yeah. I just read an article about him, and they were talking about how he might be foreshadowed by older coaches, but meaning guys from years ago. But he may be the GOAT in college basketball as far as coaching goes.
6 teams. 6 teams he's taken to the dance. He's taking St. Mary's. He's taking Cat to Iona. Excuse me. He's taking Iona.
Yeah.
Okay. So, because here's the thing. I'm interested to see how UConn does. UConn has been all over the map, but they are 2-time defending champs. Hurley's been in this situation. If the game comes down to a crunch, if his players trust and believe in him, there's a lot of guys on that team that have been on that team for both championships and his championships. They'll trust in him. So I believe that. Pitino, those guys know who I think that. Then you got Izzo. I think coaching is going to be huge. Going to be huge. And it's interesting because, okay, real quick, we talk about coaching. Look at Arkansas. Arkansas, would they start off 1-6? And your boy,
they did,
or 1-6 or something crazy like that. It was terrible. And Calipari got him back on track. They started believing in him, buying in the system, drinking the Kool-Aid, as they say. And now look at these cats. You know what I'm saying? So I think coaching is going to be huge.
That's Arkansas is my lower seeded team, actually.
That's interesting. I like when Nolan Richardson was there. He always had them boys on point. Always. Always
Oh
on
yeah,
point.
yeah,
His hairline was crazy though.
yeah. So
Nolan, he was a good coach, though. He took care of business.
without question, he was a good one. He was a good one.
Now, if we go old school coaches, though, man, there are so many guys that I liked. That,
Big fella.
yeah, like
Okay, let me ask you something. Did you guys break it down into different regions, or were you just like, this is the matchups I want to see? When I talk about what's your upset of round one, did you go each bracket? Did you? Okay, so are you looking? Okay, so we had round one. Okay, did you have? Who were your? Can you give me a real quick repeat, Barber and Sheen? Who were your round one upsets if you saw?
Drake, Mizzou, and
Okay.
Yale, Texas A&M.
Okay, Yale's got a real shot. Yeah, I'd see Yale over Mizzou. Yale, I would pick Yale before Drake, but Drake is always Drake and Butler have always done things in the tournament. Yeah,
man. Listen, he brought that whole Division II championship team with him. I mean,
yeah. And
that's
they've
what
been
I
playing
said.
together.
That's what I said about college basketball. It's just such a different animal. It really is.
No one expected that to break this year.
You need 8 or 9 athletes.
No.
That's it. 8 or 9 athletes.
No. Here's my thing, because technically they're only a 6, so they're not a low team, but because they're hot, I expect BYU to keep winning, right? But VCU at 11, they're right there too. I understand that's a 5 seeds between a 6 and 11, but VCU is pretty good. VCU might be able to do some things. If Liscum could get hot, you could see them in the Sweet 16, and only because that first weekend, if they're hot, I don't know if they play on Thursday or Friday, but if they're hot Thursday and they can keep that over till Saturday, I can see that. But that week break, you might lose it. You know what I mean? So I could see them. So when you talk about a deep run, if you're talking past Sweet 16, I don't know. But I could see mine. If you allow me BYU, even though they're a 6, if we go anything lower than a 5 seed or higher than a 5 seed, whichever way you want to look at it, I'll go BYU at 6. If I got to go more than that, a double digit seed, I will go Liscum and VCU. I like both of those squads.
I had New Mexico over Marquette, a 10 over a 7, and then the other one I had that I put out there was Liberty, a 12 over Oregon, a 5. And there's always a 12 beats a 5. Every year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then see, my thing would be, where does it go? Because we can have the upsets, but do we call it a run if they only get the 1 win? Would they at least have to get that 2 wins that first weekend for a double-digit team to be considered a run? You know what I mean? Yeah. Because now here also, because you never know, and it's tricky because there are upsets. I'm looking at some great matches in every bracket for the second round. That's really where, I've been looking at, like, of course, this UConn in the West, this UConn and Okie is great. Man, even if we're going to stay in the West, Mark, your Terps versus Grand Canyon, they should. Maryland should beat them without, run through them. But Maryland, the only thing worries me about Maryland, and I hate to say worries me, is their starting 5 can play with any starting 5 in the country. Any starting 5 in the country. But they have no depth. They have no depth.
Not at all.
And
those guys all average like 15 and 16 points, but yeah.
Yeah. And as weak as and that's the difference to me, the complete antithesis between Maryland and Florida. Hell, might as well call Florida the double deuces. They got 2 of every damn thing. They're deep as you know what I'm saying? They're deep. BYU's deep though too. Or is that Yale? I think maybe it's BYU's that has like 11.
BYU. You can't. Yeah. Although Yale makes it in, that system that they play is what lulls you to death.
Yeah. Okay, Mark, you talk about law. So having said that, I like St. John's. I really like St. John's. Yeah. And if it weren't for Duke, I'm gonna toss up my Final Four between them and Duke. Yeah. Here's the thing about St. John's, because there are 3 to 4 teams in this dance that play rough, tough, solid defense. Tennessee, St. John's, Mississippi State is there's some monsters there too. But how is the officiating going to be? If this was old school Big East, St. John's is right. They're right to go deep. But if these refs play some nitpick and call nitpick, St. John's could get upset first round against Omaha.
Well,
I worry about that.
They're gonna run in. I think they run past Omaha, but then they got a chance to get to Kansas and who is it? Kansas or Kansas and Arkansas. Whoever wins that game.
Either way. Okay. So you figure if fellas, just think about this. You talk about coaching, Mark. If it gets that second round, you got St. John versus either Kansas and Bill Self, Patino versus Self, or Patino versus Calipari, and those cats got history. That if it's St. John's in Arkansas, that game could be game itself could be better than any Final Four matchup we'd have. Yeah. That would be a good one, and that's the hard part, fellas. I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. Of course,
I think that's what people want, though. That's what makes this tournament. That's what makes this tournament so special. You know, I really don't. I'm sorry, guys. I don't buy into the playing games. I just don't. Pick your 64 and let's run.
I know. Well, did you see the one cat that said he wants to go to 76?
Why? It's all money.
Yeah, without question. And it's not, at that point you don't. Yeah, you don't
it's
even
all
need
money.
it. Yeah,
nobody cares about that. Like, I mean, yeah, we're gonna watch it. We're gonna tune in. I'm gonna tune in. You're gonna tune in.
I got it on now. St. Francis was up at halftime.
Yeah.
Who is?
St. Francis is up at halftime.
Oh, St. Francis of Laredo.
Yes, where is
up
that?
there in PA?
Okay, I know it's.
So, did you go there for football camp?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the crazy part is, fellas, as much as UNC doesn't belong there, they could win tonight and get in and get an actual win in the tourney. But that's not what this is supposed to be about. It should be about what you've done and not even who you played. I don't care who North Carolina played. They didn't beat anybody. You know what I mean? They could, and I hate to say it, but Malik Brown and Cooper Flag wasn't even there. Brown wasn't even healthy. And Carolina couldn't beat Duke. And I know Duke's the number one team in the country, but no, man.
Duke
that's
is loaded.
What's that, man?
Duke is loaded.
I know.
They got the veteran guards. They got Flag. They got 2 future lottery picks.
Big dog, I get that. But when Malik Brown and Cooper Flag weren't even playing, Flag definitely not in the ACC tournament. That is a rival. That's a tournament. You need this people. Nobody expected UNC to be in unless they won the tournament, and they couldn't get it done. And they had them on the ropes. They end up pissing it away.
Hey, you know what I read about that? This is crazy. Duke was so confident in their roster that they felt like they could sit those guys down for a minute. They felt like they could. It wasn't like they couldn't play if they were playing for something, but they were so confident in that roster that they could sit them for a minute. They didn't have to play a game. You know, they felt that good about what they were putting on the floor, which just blew my mind away, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because I thought Flag was hurt. He couldn't play. And your boy, he played even after he separated his shoulder, I think, Malik Brown. But I'm interested. But if it comes down to it, I definitely want to see the rematch between Duke and Arizona, because Arizona and Duke already beat Arizona, but that Duke team is better now. But how will Malik Brown be? How will Flag be? But that Arizona team is leaps and bounds better. That'll be
absolutely
hell. But let's not get it twisted, fellas. Duke and Mississippi State is going to be a good one. Flag can sit out Thursday or Friday, whichever day they play. He can sit out this first one. He can't sit out against Mississippi State. They're going to need that. Mississippi State is going to test them.
Mississippi State beat the living snot out of Pitt, not by score. They only beat them by 9, but this was in the tournament at the beginning of the year. They physically just beat the snot out of them.
Physically.
Hey, fellas, quick little break here. Tonight's show is brought to you by Scotty's Vodka, made right here in Frederick. You can check them out anywhere you buy your booze. Scotty's handcrafted vodka. We appreciate Scotty sponsoring tonight's show. You can find them anywhere, like I said. So give them a try if you're a vodka drinker, and enjoy. Thanks again, Scotty, for sponsoring tonight's show.
Scotty's.
Beam us up.
Chops, I want to go backwards, though, for 1 second, and I'm trying to think where we were, that you sparked something in me. Oh, that Mississippi State team. I'm telling you, they out physically beat Pitt. They pushed them around. And that's their calling card, though. Mississippi State, that's their calling card.
Mississippi State, Tennessee, and St. John's play aggressive defense.
Yep.
It's going to come down to, will the refs allow them? Because the last thing we want, fellas, is to be talking about the refs calling ticky-tack or calling fouls at their own time. I'm hoping they let them play. I'm hoping they let these boys play, and we'll see what happens. And everybody's making a big thing about the SEC having 14 teams in. And I get that. But when you got like Texas in and you've combined conferences, you know what I mean? You've combined and put Oklahoma in. You combine now Texas is in. Of course, that's going to give you more teams. So let me ask you this real quick. And this wasn't a question, but they're talking about how well the SEC did with 14 teams in. Out of 16, they had 16 teams in the conference. 14 got in, okay? So in order for it to look as though, yes, the SEC is as tough as we thought and they deserve those 14, how far do they have to go? Does one of the SEC team have to win it? Do they need at least one or maybe two of the four in the Final Four? What would you guys say is, okay, yeah, SEC lived up to the hype?
Let me ask you this question to go along with that then. When we look at the SEC, we think football mainly, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Who's won the national championship in football the last few years?
Exactly. Yeah, it hasn't been them. Georgia's won it. Ohio State won it. Now Georgia SEC, yeah, but yeah.
I mean,
Michigan.
You got to look at the big picture there, fellas. I think the SEC does one thing really, really well. I think they sell their conference.
Oh, without question.
And I think that they also not only sell their conference really well, but I also think they are smart enough to go ahead and only bring schools in that either specialize in having a strong basketball program or a strong football program. One or the other is always shining for that team or for that conference. One or the other.
We do have to give the SEC credit, though. Even though they may not been winning national championships like we say, I do believe their schedule week in and week out in conference play is rough. So I think they're taking some of their own players out. You know what I mean? Right. So that's what I'm interested. But like I said, to me, when you have 14 of the 64 teams in, you got to have at least two, maybe pushing it. But I want to say firmly, comfortably, you need to have at least two of the Final Four in there.
Yeah.
To me.
I agree.
To me. You know what I mean?
That's going to happen, no choppers. I don't see that happening for them.
Ooh, Mark, here's the thing.
You have a better shot. You have a better shot because you got 14. But I'll tell you what, the top dogs, there's at least a couple of top dogs that go down, and there's always a surprise, maybe a 5.
Yeah, true that. Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I that's just me though. You know what I'm saying? And to my credit this year, fellas, I can come into this conversation for the first time in about 3 years saying I've watched a bunch of college basketball this year.
Oh man, I love college. Let me ask you this. Okay, they always ask this question. I hate to jump ahead. Who's your first Final Four? Excuse me. Who's your first number 1 seed going down?
Ooh.
I don't even care who you have them losing to. Who's your first number 1 going down?
I don't see Duke doing it. I don't see Duke going down. Never know, but I just don't see it.
Florida.
I could see Florida. Did you just say Florida, Sheen?
Yes.
Yeah,
wow.
That's who I could see. Yep.
You know why? Wow. You know why? I say that, Chops, because they have Kentucky in there. Wait, who we said Florida? Wait, who did we say? We said Florida.
Yeah.
They got who did I just seen Florida? Where is it? Sheesh.
Wow.
Oh man, I had it.
They could possibly play St. John's. They could, yeah.
Yes.
Louisville.
Arkansas. I was thinking if Arkansas gets that because they they've played each other during the season. You know what I'm saying? So
I thought Arkansas is in the West. Florida's in the South.
Florida is the South, yeah.
Florida, Louisville,
Florida's in the West.
Let me double check that real quick.
I can swear Florida.
Florida's in the West. They've got Norfolk State first.
Oh yeah, Western Conference.
Oh, okay,
Yep,
okay.
Yep. You got UConn in there.
Memphis won't be easy.
That's who their second round is. Or UConn.
Yep.
Maryland. I mean, yeah, I got Florida.
I could see Maryland beating Florida if they get to the Sweet 16, but I don't know if Maryland will get that far because Maryland never survives after maybe a 2-game run.
I'm going to go Auburn to be the first one down because, again, they've lost three of the last 4.
About that one.
Florida, you know what's wrong with me having hard to go against Florida as rough as it's going to be? Florida's so deep. They're just so deep. You know what I mean? And I say that is, okay, we talked about your Terps, right, Barber?
Yeah.
If somebody on Maryland has a bad – or 2 players have a bad day, now it's 3 versus everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not that deep. Somebody twists an ankle. But with Florida deep, I mean, double down, double do. I mean, like Noah's Ark, 2 of everything. They could have a better run. So that's really the only reason. Now I'm not going to say, the X's, because a lot, again, we talked about coaches and the X's and O's. Sometimes it ain't about the X's and O's, it's about the Jimmy and the Joes. So because they're so deep, I'm going to go with Florida, and only because they've been stinking up the joint lately is in Auburn, losing 3 out of their last 4 regular season. That's why I've had them going out first.
You guys know Angela Reese's brother plays for Maryland, right?
That freshman? No, Queen's the freshman. No, I don't. I didn't know.
He's Reese.
I'm not a big Angel Reese fan, so you wouldn't catch me knowing that. She acts like she got all kind of game.
Okay, let me ask you this.
All right, hit me.
What matchup? I don't care. Don't count Final Four. Don't count Final Four because that's one from each region. What matchups? Like I said, I want to see Arizona Duke again. I want to see St. John's.
Yeah,
and
I want
Duke,
to see St. John's.
right? I want to see Louisville, or whomever. I'm looking forward to Louisville or Arkansas and Kansas. But
yes,
who? Well, that's a 7-10, so that's definitely going to happen. But other than that, like I said, I want to see Arizona Duke run it back. I want to see, and to be honest with you, okay. You guys go there. What matchups are you looking forward to? Whether it's second.
I'm looking for St. John's in the second round against either Kansas or Arkansas. And since I said Arkansas, I think Kansas is going to lose in the first round. I do. I got Arkansas.
See, I'm torn. I like Calipari because he's Pittsburgh. He's Pennsylvania. I like Calipari, but I like Self too. You know what I mean? So I'm going to go with Kansas on the upset and because of Calipari, hometown kid.
Then, after St. John's dismantles one of them, it's pretty easy for them after that. It's Texas Tech or Missouri Drake.
I'd like to see.
Aren't St. John's and Duke in the same? Aren't St. John's and Duke? Don't they battle it out to go to the Final Four?
Nope.
Aren't St. John's and Duke in the same bracket?
Nope.
Duke is in there with Michigan State, Florida.
Duke is in the East.
And Tennessee.
When the East is in the house. Duke got Alabama. They might lose to Robert Morris. Bobby Mudd.
Hey, I'd like to see a good old-fashioned Tennessee-Clemson matchup. You don't like Tennessee?
No. I don't.
That's one of them SEC schools. They were a second seed.
When you guys said that, I didn't realize they had this many teams in the damn tournament. Jeez.
Fellas, St. John's is – hold on for a second.
St. John's I'm looking –
who's the number 2 seed?
They are.
No. No. I was talking about for Duke. Is that Bama? Is that Bama, the number 2 seed in Bama's?
Yes.
See, we'll see. I'm not a huge fan of Bama hoops, but we'll see how they do.
I never was either. Currently, they ain't looking too good in football either.
Amen.
Real quick, before we get out of here, Barber, who's your Final Four?
Oh, I'm going to ride with Duke, right?
All right.
That's my winner, and I'm sticking with them. I like Michigan State. I'm a big Izzo guy. So I'm sticking with Michigan State. Who was the other teams I liked? This is the West region. The West region's kind of interesting to me. You know, y'all think I'm crazy. I'm gonna tell you St. John's just because Pitino can do the job, but I would not be shocked if UConn wasn't there. Like it would not shock me if UConn was one of the Final Four. And in the Midwest, shit, I kind of feel like Houston.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Houston because even though I want to see a Tennessee Clemson matchup, I can see Houston winning that thing.
I got Houston, Duke, St. John's, and oh man, I think Auburn's going to lose. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Michigan State.
Michigan. I mean,
That's what I said.
Yes,
That's the score I gave you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it's
on
all
that
right.
aspect. Like I said, Michigan State. I like Kelvin Sampson, so I'm going Houston. I'm going St. John's.
Yes, the Johnnies.
Florida. The St. John's. And I know Duke is the favorite, you know what I mean? But it's going to come down to me, Duke or Arizona. And I need to see how healthy Flag is.
If Flag doesn't win the national championship this year, does he return to the NCAA or does he
hell no.
make his money?
He's going to make his money, bro.
Yeah.
He going. That's me. What do you think, Sheen?
Yeah, he's gone. No reason.
He has nothing else to prove.
Yeah.
He's player of the year as a freaking freshman.
No reason to keep playing around with it.
Like he has nothing else to prove. I'm excited. I'm really excited now for this tournament. You guys got me fired up to watch it. Let's just hope it plays out. I know our phones will be blowing up. So,
oh man, because there's always upsets. You know what I mean? There's always upsets. So you're like, man, because to me, I just don't see Duke having issue with anybody unless it be. Now, here's the thing. They, as in Duke, have to get past Mississippi State. I want to see how they play Mississippi State. And that's a round 2 game. So Duke plays on the 21st is Friday. So they play Friday. Then they're going to flip it and play again on Sunday. So when they play Friday, sit your boy out. Sit him out, Flag, sit him out. But come Sunday, Mississippi State is coming at them full bore.
Well, he's got to be healthy for that.
Yes, he has to be. And
they're going to know exactly. They're going to know exactly.
I heard that's a high ankle sprain. Mark, those are hard to get in a week.
That's a 6-week, 2 months.
Yes, man. Getting over a high ankle sprain in a week, going lateral side to side, doing everything that you do in hoops, and just like you end up rolling his foot, stepping on somebody in the mosh pit. That's the thing. Even if they get past Mississippi State, I don't think they're going to be 100% because Malik Brown's not 100%. Flag can't be 100%. I'm going with Arizona to come out of that bracket or that.
You just talked yourself into it, didn't you?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's good though. We all got the same thing except Sheen and I got Michigan State.
I got Michigan State there. Oh, now winning it, I'd love to see St. John's. I'd love to see Pitino winning. I know, and Biggie, fellas, real talk. Let's keep it a buck. Could there be a better come full circle back winning the old man Pitino in his last few years, winning it for a Big East school? Does it get, you know what I mean?
Ooh.
I mean, he's known for winning and doing his thing at Louisville, but he took Providence. Fellas, he took Providence to the big dance. You know what I mean? So Pitino's my guy. So I like that. So that's my Final Four: Arizona, St. John's, Houston, Michigan State. I'd like to either see Pitino or Kelvin Sampson at Houston winning. And only because I'm a Kelvin Sampson guy. Only because I like Kelvin Sampson, not really the team.
That's really part of the reason I picked half of my Final Four, because I like the coaches,
absolutely.
and they know how to get it done. Like Izzo, he knows how to get it done.
Yeah, man.
So,
yeah.
Hey, fellas, let's wrap this thing up. It's been It's been a fun night talking on here. I left Kevin Fairman, Jets #1 quarterback. I had to leave that up there because that shit was crazy. You can find us all over social media. Wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, you can watch this show on Roku on Tuesday nights from 7 to 8. Don't forget Thursday nights we do Terrible Talk, talking all Pittsburgh Steeler football. We have a lot to talk about this Thursday, so make sure you come and join us. If you have any questions, comments, and concerns, you can reach out to us at originalsportspodcast@gmail.com. Check out our website, originalsportspodcast.com. And on there, you'll find our link tree, which will take you to all our social media handles. Shout out to Charlie Hodgson for music, Steve Medley for doing our voice intro. Check us out. We love having more customers. We got a lot more people joining our YouTube page too, so something's going on out there. Hey, until next week, y'all, make sure you experience the Original Sports Podcast.
This podcast is part of the Frederick Podcast Network. Learn more at listenfrederick.com.